Just like that river twisting through a dusty land. It's not unusual, it happens every day. No matter what you say, you'll find it happens all the time. Love will never do what you want to do. Why can't this crazy love be mine?
Find me a fine, catch me a catch, matchmaker, matchmaker, that make me a perfect match. Everybody's moving, everybody's grooving, baby.
Folks find love outside just to get down.
Everybody's moving, everybody's grooving, baby.
Funky little sack, funky little sack.
Just one show, it's too tired of you.
All through the day, give you all the love I have with all my might. Hey, hey. Just remember, I can't get enough of.
So I tell you, something.
This could be love because I've had the time of my life. Do 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 do, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river, rolling on the river. Cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis, bumped a lot of pain down in New Orleans. But I never saw the good side of the city till I hitched a ride on a riverboat queen. Big wheels keep on turning, proud Mary keep on burning. Do 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 do, rolling, rolling, rolling on a river, rolling on a river.
Welcome to the Granite Curling Club. This is what we call the Granite Curling Club. Welcome to the Granite Curling Club. This is what we call the Granite. Oh, who's buying? Let's go curling, baby. Let's go curling, baby. Let's go curling, baby. Yeah.
To avoid. Well, it is not one of the flashiest sports out there, but Seattle is home to some world-class curlers, if you know what that is.
And some are going to be competing in the National Mixed Doubles Championship Tournament this week. King 5's Tim Robinson's at their home base, the Granite Curling Club in Seattle. Tim, good morning. Well, we can't hear you.
Is your mic on, Tim?
Sorry.
There we go. There you go.
Got
Okay.
me.
All right.
I was just saying how wild these curling people are, because over against the wall there's all these kegs of beer. They just had a Bonspiel. That's what they call these tournaments, and they must have a good time out here with these curling stones. Listen, there are 14 teams in this doubles competition that's starting in Minnesota tomorrow. 3 of those teams are from right here at the Granite Bay Curling Club, and these guys were nice enough to show me some of the finer points of curling. Take a look. This is a curling rink, and that's Derek McLean sliding his way down the rink. A few things about that in a moment. First, for quickie curling basics, we point out the stones, 44 pounds each. In curling, each team is comprised of 4 people. They each get 2 throws, 2 stones apiece, from one end. Their goal is simple, to put the stone in the house.
You want to get your rocks closest to the center of the target, which is called the house.
Which brings us back to sliding Derek. That bullseye area he's in is the house. The house can get crowded with rocks, and players go crazy with the brooms to smooth the ice, to smooth the way for the stone to get into the house. But it works both ways. A red player might sweep to make sure they have a clear shot at the opponent's blue rock. And then the blue guy sweeps to smooth the red's path out of the house, out of scoring position. As you might imagine, curling matches don't exactly light up the scoreboard.
10-6 for a high-scoring game.
Curling is nothing if not strategic. A lot has to do with the delivery, which is where the word curling comes from.
So you turn the rock at the end of your delivery, and it spins the rock, and as it slows down going down the ice, it will curl at the end toward the spin.
The ice is a pebbly surface, very slippery, which brings us back to the sliding derrick and how he can slide so easily. It's a Teflon-soled shoe on one foot.
And then the other shoe has one of these grippers on it to help you push and scoot yourself across the ice.
So beyond the strategy, there's the physical part. It's very challenging to simply stay upright. That's why the good curlers practice, 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 so they can concentrate on that all-important delivery.
You're trying to get to a point where you've practiced enough, you know what all your muscles are supposed to be doing, that you can come out nice and smooth and let go of that rock and go just that feeling.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people who thought, oh, look at curling sure is a funny looking little sport until I tried it. And I'm telling you, Brad and Joyce, just, letting go of this rock and then staying upright without falling to your side, it's very, very tough. And that's what's so impressive about these three teams that are going, they're going for this tournament, the National Mixed Doubles Tournament in Minnesota that starts tomorrow. The winners of that will get to go to the World Championships. So these folks are really good at curling here.
Yeah, it's really kind of a neat hardcore group. I had a chance to do it in Detroit several times, and it is difficult, Tim. There's no doubt. I mean, the balance is one thing, but then the whole sport and the accuracy. People think that's it's shuffleboard on ice.
Yeah,
it's a lot more difficult than that.
There's a ton to it, Brad, and if anybody out there wants to know about it, we have a link on our website at king5.com. Just go to news links, and we have a link to their website so you can get involved in the Granite Curling Club.
Okay, Timmy, thanks. Thanks for the preview there. All right, let's get to Chris Warren now, checking that forecast. We're going to see some blue sky today?
We're already seeing some blue.
Welcome back. Players from Seattle are headed to Minnesota today to compete in a National Mixed Doubles Championship.
They are some very talented curlers, players who curl, who participate in the sport of curling. King 5's Tim Robinson at their home base telling us more about it. Hey, Tim.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, curling is the sport. It's very unusual. They call it curling because of the way the stone moves. And somebody who knows all about that is Kristen Clark. She is going to Minnesota today. What are you going to compete in?
We're going to be competing in the mixed doubles. It's the first national event for that.
But you've done national events before.
Yes, I've competed in regular mixed.
And you've gotten kind of lucky.
We've been very fortunate. We've won the last 5 out of the 6 years.
And when you say we, who is that?
My husband and I, our friend Bev, and we've had different seconds across the years. This year we're playing with Darren Leto.
Seconds meaning?
The person who throws second in the order.
And what is your specialty in this? You're telling me there's 2 things that you like to do.
I suppose hits.
Hits,
Yeah.
which just means knocking the other guys out of there.
Exactly.
All right, so if you could show us the final points. Go on down there, and when you're ready, go ahead and go. And when you're ready to throw, just let us know. In the meantime, while she's going down there, I want to introduce everybody to Derek McLean. Derek is a wunderkind. How old are you now, Derek? Come on over here.
I'm 15.
Okay, and when did you start curling?
I started when I was 5.
5 years old, with the 44-pounders?
Yeah, I was definitely way too stubborn to use what are called the little rocks, which are only about half the size.
All right, I think, sorry, Derek, she's ready. Go ahead and take it away, Kristen. Okay, so here she comes. How does it look so far, Derek?
Well, she's definitely throwing it well with a clean release. It's coming down the ice here.
So what's that guy doing in front of her?
Right now he's just cleaning it, making sure that the ice doesn't have any debris in front of the rock.
Okay, sorry, there he goes. All right, so she has just knocked it. Was that a good throw?
Definitely. She ended up with sitting 2 rocks closer than the opponents. So
okay, the 2. So
if this were the last rock thrown, our team would get 2 points.
A whole 2 points.
Oh yeah.
High-scoring, exciting game. Derek, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. All right, so Kristen, good luck. Come on over here. We want to wish you well. You and how many people? How many teams are going from here?
There's 3 teams from here.
Well, good luck. Good luck. Going to Minnesota, Brad and Joyce, to play for the Mixed Doubles Championships right here from Seattle, and this unusual sport of curling. Curling, yeah, it's unusual.
They look good to go and ready, Tim. Thank you.
Good luck to them.
Yeah.
Hear more about it on Monday. Hopefully they'll do well.
All right, let's say good luck to Chris Warren. Let's come up with a forecast that will please everybody.
This week's episode, and they're playing one of your favorite sports.
One of my very favorites, the great sport of curling, just doesn't get enough publicity, does it? And we're going to help solve that problem right here, right now. The only curling club on the West Coast is here in our city, and we decided to learn the game from this week's batch of little heroes. Just off Aurora sits the fabulous Granite Curling Club.
It's kind of like a hidden sport thing. Not really much people know about it.
Which is why we put together a crackerjack committee to teach us the game and the lingo. No, not these guys, these guys. Rule number 1.
And it's really, really cold.
Rule number 2, you don't play a game, you don't go curling. What you do is...
Here's some rocks.
Yeah, you throw some rocks, and the rock is...
This is a rock. And this is ice.
The people with the brooms are the sweepers. And when you want the sweepers to sweep, you say...
You say sweep, 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 which tells the sweepers to sweep.
Sometimes 2 sweepers are better than 1. And if your sweepers are sleepers, you hustle down and do your own housekeeping chores. It's like a giant game of shuffleboard on ice, really. Don't hit the little hero's camera. Ooh, that was close. The object is not to rock the house, but to get the rock in the house. Sometimes it's very close, and everybody has to gather around the rock and look very closely. The verdict is...
The rock is in the house.
You can knock out the other guy's rock, but not your own, and if you do... Disastersville.
He knocked out ours. He took out his rock.
Lillian knows that curling is all about practice, practice, practice.
I practice ballerina flips because I'm a ballerina.
Okay, but Lillian, we're talking about the great sport of curling here. Can you tell us about your curling skills?
I'm gonna learn to curl real soon.
Well, when will that be?
As soon as I get bigger.
The game is over and there is major controversy.
Hey, I didn't lose the red. It was there the whole time. It was way over there.
Why in the world would he move a rock out of the house that cost his team a win?
If you win, you have to clean the ice.
Busted. There it is, gang. This week's episode of... You gotta love curling.
I think those kids inspired us. We are all going to go curling, you guys.
We should do
We're going
it.
to try
The
it.
Como curling team.
Como curling
Watched it
team.
many times.
It's fun.
We
A
have
lot
to
of
try
fun.
it. Thank you, Eric.
Well, it was cold, and I wore wool socks, wool sweater, wool hat. I thought, compared to Hawaii, it was too cold. But a funny thing happens. You get accustomed to the coolness, and then after a while, several years later, you throw away your wool stuff, and you're just regular. I have to sit down and think how many years that curl, but I'm sure it's over 30 years. When you get into the ice arena for the curling games, it just feels good. The cold air is invigorating. Then you get started on the game, and the game is quite a challenge because there's a lot of strategy involved. It's really a thinking man's game. Those who love to play chess, like my grandson, they just love the challenge of strategy. Well, I was born and raised in the Sunshine, Hawaii. Lovely place, but we moved to Seattle. And we knew one couple that knew a curler, Dr. Arnold Piper, introduced my husband and our friend Harry to curling. I had 3 little girls, so I was too busy. I couldn't curl. No babysitters, no relatives. So my husband was so enthusiastic about the sport of curling, so he curled all the time. I never saw it, and I didn't know what he was doing, but I knew he enjoyed it. Finally, being financially comfortable, I told my husband I was not going to work anymore, and I was going to devote myself to improve my curling and go into competition. My daughter, she said, this year, let's go and compete in the seniors. So I said, oh, well, all right. And we won the U.S. competition. So now we get to go to Russia to represent the United States in the senior women's competition.
Curling's had an incredible following the last few Olympics. It's just gotten rave reviews and people are fascinated by watching it. But when you're flipping through the channels and you come across curling, I would encourage people to really watch and pay attention to the strategy and the amount of teamwork and figure out how they're going to score their points. The games come down to a matter of inches. Pay attention to that strategy and think about what would your next shot be. It's like a game of chess, but you're on ice and you're delivering stones and you're playing with teammates and trying to make all of that work together. It's a pretty incredible game.
The sport of curling is granite stones on ice. It's called curling because the stones, when they're delivered or thrown, they curl. They'll go in a counterclockwise or clockwise rotation. They curl down the ice. When you're throwing a stone, the mechanics are you squat down and you look down the sheet of ice and there'll be someone standing holding a broom, and that's where you aim. You try to just nicely and smoothly release the stone to the broom. When you see two teammates sweeping the stone, what they're doing is they're melting a thin layer of ice, and this curling stone will be able to glide on that thin layer of water, and it's like hydroplaning, and it'll be able to go farther and straighter.
Good one. Nice shot.
When you see two stones hitting with great force, that's called a takeout. And if we knock out two of our opponent's stones with one stone, that's called a double takeout. Points are scored in curling by seeing who's closest to the center. In curling, the power of one stone is very mighty. That one stone will score for your team, and it nullifies all the other 5 or 6 opponent stones. I'd say that curling, it's a wonderful sport. It's a family sport. And if you try the sport of curling, I hope you like it and give it a try.